You know how it goes. Before the turkey is even carved, someone is talking about calories, carbs, or earning dessert. It happens every year. And no matter how much progress you've made with food, it can still really sting. You're passing potatoes, enjoying the laughter, and then someone drops a comment about weight or willpower, and suddenly the warmth just drains from the room. These moments can bring back so much more than words. They touch old wounds about food, your body, and belonging. I'm Dr. Meredith McKenzie, a binge eating therapist and intuitive eating coach, and today we're talking about how to handle holiday diet talk without losing your cool or your joy. And before we dive in, I'm creating something really special to help you move through the holidays with more peace and confidence. It will be shared only with my insiders. So head to meredithmckenzie.ca/waitlist to be the first to know. Now, if you have ever left a family gathering replaying comments in your head or wondering if you handled that situation right, today's episode is for you. Welcome to Embodied Love, where we're rewriting the rules around food, body image, and self-acceptance. I'm Dr. Meredith McKenzie, therapist, coach, and your guide to a life free from diet culture and food guilt. If you ever felt stuck in the cycle of binging, restricting, or struggling to feel at home in your body, you're in the right place. Each week, we'll explore emotional eating, body image, and joyful movement through solo episodes, expert interviews, and real-life coaching sessions. Because your body is not the problem. This is your space to learn, heal, and finally break free, and to discover what it means to love the body you're in. So you know the moment I'm talking about. Someone makes an offhand comment about food or their body, or maybe even yours. And yeah, it might sound harmless. It's something that any of us who grew up in the 90s, 80s, 90s, even 2000s, like we're used to it. But maybe they say something like, "Oh, I'm being so bad with all these cookies," or "You look great. Have you lost weight?" But before you even realize it, your body tenses up. Your stomach twists, your chest feels tight, and suddenly you're not sitting at the dinner table. You're back in every moment that you've ever felt judged or scrutinized for what you ate or how you looked. And that's because diet talk rarely exists in a vacuum. It carries decades of messaging from family, friends, media, and culture about what is considered good, healthy, or acceptable, all in air quotes. I can remember going to visit my Nana as an adult, and this is when I was really struggling with my disordered eating, thinking she was going to give me the greatest praise because I had so many memories of her making comments about my mom's body and her weight fluctuations through time. It is just something that we carry into these family situations. And for many of us, it starts early. Comments that we've overheard growing up, things that were praised or teased about, the foods that were off limits, or maybe they were allowed because it was a specific holiday, but other times they weren't. All of it quietly shaped the way we relate to food and our bodies today in this moment. So when diet talk shows up during a holiday, it's not just small talk. It's pressing on those old bruises that we have. And then this is what I know Aunt Sue is going to be talking about. Well, I mean well. Even when people mean well, and sometimes they genuinely do, or they hope that it's coming from a good place, their words can tap into deep stories about our sense of self-worth and control and how much we feel like we belong in a certain situation. It can sound like concern, like, "I'm just worried about your health," or "I wish I had your discipline," and that's feeling of comparison that we have with a loved one. And yet, what we feel underneath those words is something else. It is this subtle reminder that we are being evaluated in these situations and that our bodies are being evaluated, that our choices are under some sort of microscope, that when we attend an event, our bodies are on display and essentially like open for the topic of conversation or scrutiny or any kind of judgment. Basically, our brains and bodies are wired for safety and acceptance. So when we sense any type of judgment, even a hint of it, our nervous system is going to react as if it's under threat. And that might sound a little, over the top, but we end up having this shield that comes up over us to keep us protected. You might notice that your mind starts to go blank, or you feel an urge to defend yourself. That is your fight, flight, or freeze response. It's your body's way of saying, okay, this doesn't feel safe. This doesn't feel right to me. And maybe you shut down and you go quiet. Maybe you over-explain or justify what's on your plate. Maybe you change the subject, but spend the rest of the evening replaying that comment in your head. All of those reactions make sense. They're not signs of weakness or oversensitivity. They're signs that you care about protecting your peace and your progress. And understandably, in the situation of a family, extended family, friends, we do care what people in our lives think about us. Even if we, can dismiss or downplay other things that these people say, when it's targeted towards us, it can feel so much heavier and so much more like worth the weight that it's carrying. And here's the part I want you to hold on to. You can care deeply about your family and still protect yourself from conversations that hurt you. You can love people and still decide not to engage in diet talk. When we hold boundaries, it doesn't mean that we are creating distance. It is creating a sense of safety within that relationship. So what does this even look like before you even walk into a holiday gathering? How are you able to check in with yourself, know the limits that you actually have, and go in feeling grounded instead of brace for impact, as I've heard so many clients describe? So let's talk about what happens before you even step into that family gathering or holiday meal. Because the truth is, how you prepare emotionally before you go in often matters more than what actually gets said around the table. So think of it like this. Every time you walk into a space where diet talk might happen, you're bringing your energy, your intentions, and your limits with you. That is something that you have control over, even though you don't have control over what other people might say. And those can either feel scattered and shaky or clear and grounded. Before you leave the house, take a few quiet minutes to check in with yourself. And you might even want to jot down these questions so that you have them for later. Maybe put them in your phone, put them in a journal, piece of paper, go grab some pen and paper, pause, come back. So first, I want you to ask yourself, what do I want to protect today? Maybe it is your peace, your ability to distance yourself from the comments that other people make, almost like building a mental shield around yourself. Maybe it is your sense of self. So you are saying, I know that I am a strong, good person. I know that I work hard. I know that I have all these fabulous traits. I'm not going to allow comments to, deter from that. It might simply be your ability to enjoy food without feelings of guilt or mental noise. Naming that gives you direction. It's like setting your internal compass. So next, I want you to think about what your no-go zones are, the things that are completely off limits, conversations that you really don't want to be having today. Maybe it's anything related to weight, dieting, or being good with food. And I don't want you to spend time overthinking it. Just decide what feels like too much for your current capacity. Then consider how you would like to hold those boundaries. So boundaries aren't a one-size-fits-all. And I think this is where people can get really stuck with boundaries. They can be soft or firm. They can be spoken or silent. There's lots of different ways that you can communicate those boundaries to somebody else and have it fit the relationship that you have with somebody. You might use humor to redirect, or maybe it's a short and steady statement that you have rehearsed and it feels natural to just let it out and you can leave it at that. Or it might even be simply changing the topic of discussion. So you're not actually even having to say anything directly. Sometimes the boundary isn't even about your words at all. It's how you choose not to engage. So here are a few examples of what this could sound like. And I'm going to try to use the inflection of my voice because I think sometimes when we read some of these boundary settings, it can feel like, oh my goodness, sure, I would love that. I'd love to say that to somebody in my family, but I can't imagine actually uttering those words. Like that would be incredibly awkward. I get you. So let's try to say them together. Yeah, you know what? I am taking a break from diet talk this week. It's something that I've really noticed, and it's something I don't want to talk about. Can you tell me how your vacation was? Maybe another thing you might try saying is, oh, I'd rather not get into food stuff today. I'm really focusing on being present and enjoying all this good stuff. Or sometimes it's just a small smile and silence. That's enough. Sometimes when somebody is speaking these things, it's Aunt Sue. Sorry, Aunt Sue, I'm going to use your name if you're a Sue. And she is putting the food on her plate and she is experiencing that internal sense of guilt. And one way that she's justifying it to herself, or she's trying to appease that feeling within her, is she is almost compulsively saying these things aloud. Oh, wow. I really got to, tighten up in the new year. And it's actually nothing to do with you. Yes, obviously it's affecting you, but it is so much more a reflection of how much she is struggling in that moment. And so sometimes just giving a smile and, silence, moving on, getting the next, I don't know how your family does it. My family always does it as like a buffet where we fill up our plates. But I guess in other situations too, we've passed every bowl around. That's a trickier situation. But, maybe you just move on to the potatoes from there. Now, I want you to imagine yourself in that space. Imagine the meal, the smells, the aromas, the voices that you're hearing. But this time, I want you to picture yourself feeling grounded, solid, sure of yourself. Your feet are steady on the floor. Your breath is slow and full. You can feel the chair beneath you, the warmth of your hands resting in your lap. And somewhere inside, you are able to remind yourself, my body is not up for debate. You belong at that table exactly as you are. From this grounded place, ask yourself two simple questions. What is one boundary I'll hold for myself today? Maybe that is, I will continue to eat even if somebody makes a comment about my food. I will choose not to take that extra cookie when grandma keeps pushing it and I'm actually not hungry for it. Just think about what that one boundary is that you want to hold for yourself. And the second question is, what will I do if someone pushes past that and isn't respectful of the boundary that I've set? When you know your answers, or at least what you would like to be doing in those situations, you're no longer bracing for impact, because that is like when you're just like sitting there hoping that you can handle it, whatever comes your way, rather than really feeling grounded in it. Instead, you are preparing for this situation with real intention. You might even want to share your plan with a supportive person ahead of time. Maybe that is your partner. Maybe that's your parent or friend or cousin, sister, whoever it is, someone who can give you a reassuring glance across the table if things get uncomfortable. Because being grounded doesn't mean that you're expecting everything to go perfectly. It means that you're able to trust yourself to handle whatever is going to come next. So what does this actually look like in real time? How can we respond with the diet talk? How are we able to respond when that diet talk actually starts without losing your cool or shutting down completely? Okay. Now it has come to, what do we do? Okay. So you've done the prep work. You've checked in with yourself. You've set your boundaries. You've walked into that holiday meal feeling clear on what it is that you want to protect. And then it happens. Someone comments on the dessert. Someone else starts talking about how they'll make up for this in January. And maybe an aunt or cousin leans over and says something about how, oh, you're so lucky that you can eat that. In that moment, your body is tense again. But this time, you have options. Let's talk about what you can say or not say when diet talk shows up in these situations. First, a gentle reminder before we get into this. Setting boundaries doesn't mean confrontation. You don't need to deliver a speech or change anyone's mind. Like, you are not entering the situation with the weight of, protecting every woman against diet talk in this situation. You're simply deciding which conversations you're willing to have and which ones you're not going to have. And boundaries can sound really warm and light and natural and still be very effective. So here are a few examples that I invite you. You can borrow, you can adjust them, or you can completely start over and make your own, but just some ideas. So let's talk about the gentle redirect. So a comment is made and you might say, oh, I'm taking a break from diet talk this week. How has your week been, by the way? So this one can shift the focus without creating any real tension. You're giving the person an easy way to follow your lead, and you're making it about them. So it redirects it really into them taking on that conversation to share about themselves, something we all love to do. Or you might want to try something humorous, right? Someone starts talking about calories and you'd be like, no calories at Christmas, okay? Let's talk about something more fun. Humor can really help change the subject when keeping the energy light, right? Especially if you're in a group that's not used to direct boundaries, which, let's be honest, many of our families are not. And if you are feeling more comfortable or looking for something that's more direct, but you want to remain kind, you could say, I'd rather not talk about bodies right now. Yeah, thank you for understanding. It's short, it's steady, and it's still very respectful. It gets the message across without inviting a debate. It's not about what your opinion is versus their opinion. It is, let's not talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. You might also want to try using nonverbal boundaries because they can be just as powerful. So maybe that means you take a slow sip of water after someone says something, or turn your body towards someone else, or even just start talking about a new topic. And it communicates the limit that you have without needing a single word. Sometimes the best response is to pause. Give yourself a chance to breathe, to let that comment land and choose just not to catch it. Like imagine that your body is covered in Teflon and it's just letting those comments slide off of you. That's what emotional regulation looks like in real time. You're choosing where your energy goes. And remember, the first few times that you do this, it might feel awkward and clunky. That's okay. Boundaries are like muscles. The more you use them, the more natural they start to feel. And you can even start practicing a few of these phrases out loud before the event. Maybe you try them in front of the mirror or you say them while you're driving, right? It's sometimes just being able to practice that language, having it feel natural to you. I'm going to make a Taylor Swift reference because I also heard another podcaster make this, but Taylor Swift loves to have her routine dialed in, known to the, very last step, because then it allows her to feel more like herself, more authentic, so that she can then be playful with the crowd. That's what you're wanting to do here. You want to have this feel just like you before you go into it so that it's not a hard thing to do. And then you're able to be a little more flexible. Notice how these words feel in your mouth, how your voice sounds when you say them with a sense of confidence. And you can even practice that tone for yourself. That way, when the moment comes, your words are ready and you can focus on staying connected to yourself instead of getting pulled into that noise. What's really powerful about this approach is that it allows you to protect your peace and maintain connections with other people. You're not rejecting the other person, you're rejecting the topic. And sometimes you'll notice that after you've set a boundary once, others start to follow your lead, actually. You're able to model what self-respect looks like, and that can quietly change the tone of the whole table. Now, what do you do when the talk doesn't stop? When someone keeps going, gets really personal, or crosses the line? Because even when you've done all the right things, that can still happen. So now I want to walk you through how you can stay steady in those moments too. Sometimes, despite your best efforts, the conversation doesn't stop. You've redirected, you've set the boundary. Maybe you've even changed the subject and someone circles back with another comment. Maybe they laugh it off and say, oh, come on, we're just joking. Maybe they double down. Well, you used to be so disciplined. Or maybe they start talking about you instead of to you. Those moments can feel especially draining. Why do I even say draining? They can feel like a gut punch because it's clear that your boundary wasn't respected. And I want you to know this isn't about your wording or your delivery. It's about their comfort with the topic and nothing about you, nothing about your worth. And if they should be talking about this when you've asked them not to. If that happens, please remind yourself you don't owe anyone endless explanations. You've already stated your limit once, and that's enough. That should be enough. You can calmly repeat it one more time if that feels right. Well, I really don't want to talk about this, and then stop engaging. Or you can let your actions speak. Maybe you take that sip of water, excuse yourself to check on the kids, refill a drink, step outside for a breath of cold air. Those moments of pause, they aren't avoidance. Don't think that. They are how you are caring for yourself and regulating yourself in that moment. They're the way that you can stay grounded instead of becoming reactive. And if your body starts to feel tense or your heart is racing, just this quick grounding reset, wherever you are, you can try feeling your feet against the floor, rolling your shoulders back, and exhaling slowly through your mouth. Just let the air leave your body fully, and then notice one thing. in the room that brings you a sense of ease. Maybe it's a friend's smile, the sound of laughter in the other room, a glow of a candle on the table, and just focus on that for a few seconds. These are very small ways that you can make a shift to bring your body out of that stress response and back into a sense of control. And if someone still doesn't get it, that's okay. You can't control their understanding. You can only control your response and how it affects you. You're allowed to protect your peace, even if others don't understand what you're trying to do in that moment. Maybe that means leaving the conversation, taking space, or staying quiet because it isn't rude, it is self-respect. You've done enough of the emotional work to know that protecting your energy doesn't make you difficult, it makes you wise. And that is why it is so important to take some moments to reconnect with yourself after the meal is over, because even if everything did go smoothly, your body and mind may still need some time to settle and reset. When the plates are cleared and the house quiets down, it's normal to feel a mix of emotions. Even if everything went mostly fine, your body might still be carrying some tension or exhaustion from staying alert all day. So before you rush to clean up, start running errands, or scrolling on your phone, I invite you to give yourself a few moments to check in. Ask yourself, what went well today? What surprised me? And where did I honor myself? You might notice small victories, right? And they might not be huge, but something small, like the comment you chose not to engage with, the meal you actually enjoyed without guilt, or maybe even how quickly you grounded yourself after a super tense moment with a loved one. Those things count. Those are signs of growth. And then think about how you can care for your body and mind after that emotional energy of a big gathering. And maybe that looks like going for a quiet walk, writing in your journal, taking a few deep breaths before bed, turning on that Christmas movie just for you. It might mean calling a friend or a partner who, actually gets it and just sharing what the day was like for you. It could even mean doing something super simple, but also nourishing. So changing into comfy clothes, sipping on a tea, listening to music that helps you unwind, and then rest. You don't need to process everything tonight. That social time, it takes energy, especially when you're navigating these really tricky conversations. Let your body recover, because showing up differently, doing something differently, changing the route that you're on, even in small ways, is progress. I heard a friend say this before, where imagine you are in an airplane and you adjust yourself by even just a degree, and you are now going slightly, 1 degree more to the left. When we look at what your final destination would be, that is like, could be miles and miles and miles away. So even those small changes are huge progress. Every time you protect your peace, when you speak kindly to yourself or eat without overthinking it, you are rewiring your brain. It's something deeper than just that moment. So if you notice that you're still feeling heavy or unsettled afterwards, that is okay. You've done a lot of work. These experiences can stir up old emotions that really deserve care and space. You don't have to untangle them alone. This is the kind of work that I do every day with my clients, helping them find steadiness and freedom around food and their bodies in these exact type of moments. So if you are ready for more support, whether it's tools for navigating the holidays or a deeper look at your relationship with food, I would love you to come visit meredithmckenzie.ca/waitlist. That's where I'll be sharing something really special soon. And it's created to help you feel calmer, clearer, and more at peace through the season. You've done something powerful just by listening today, reflecting and staying open to doing things differently. Take a breath, be gentle with yourself, and know that this is how change really begins, quietly, with one kind decision at a time. As we wrap up today, I want to leave you with this thought. You can't control what others say or how they see food, but you can choose how you care for yourself before, during, and after those moments. When diet talk shows up this season, and let's be honest, it probably will, remember that you have tools now. You know what you want to protect. You know your boundaries. You know that walking away or changing the subject, it isn't rude, it's respectful, especially to yourself. And these conversations don't have to take over your holidays. It is possible to enjoy your meal, share laughter, and focus on what actually matters to you. And before I let you go at the end of this episode, I want you to take a moment to reflect on one thing that you'll do differently this year to protect your peace. Maybe it's planning a few responses ahead of time or grounding yourself before you walk into that room. Maybe it's choosing to skip a conversation altogether and spend that energy elsewhere that feels lighter. Whatever it is, let it be small, doable, and most importantly, self-compassionate. Those quiet choices are what rebuild the trust within yourself. If this episode resonated with you, as I mentioned, I have something special coming soon to help you feel even more supported through the holidays. And it's designed to help you stay grounded, enjoy food without guilt, and keep your peace intact. So it'll be shared only with my insiders. So head to meredithmckenzie.ca/waitlist to get on the list. Thank you so much for listening today and for choosing to show up for yourself in this way. However you spend this season, I hope it includes moments of joy, connection, and real rest. Until next time, I'm Dr. Meredith McKenzie. Take care of yourself, and I'll talk to you soon. That's it for today's episode of One Body to Love. I'm so grateful you chose to spend this time with me. These conversations around food and body image can be deeply personal, and the fact that you showed up today open and curious means more than I can say. If today's episode resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Come connect with me on Instagram at Dr. Meredith McKenzie. Send me a message, share what stood out, or just say hi. If you're ready to take the next step toward food freedom and finally feel at home in your body, head to meredithmckenzie.ca/OBTL to learn more about the One Body to Love program. You'll find everything you need to begin healing your relationship with food with support every step of the way. If you're enjoying the show, one of the best ways to show support is by leaving a quick rating and review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening. Your words help more women find this space and feel less alone. Until next time, be gentle with yourself. You deserve a life of peace with food and your body.